This is fun. Hello and welcome to our used car review today of the BMW E90 335i. Now the E90 335i is a high performance sporty sedan from BMW. It sits right below the E90 M3 with a V8 engine, and it's a little bit of a legend. And why, you might ask? Well, firstly, it's fitted with a straight 6-cylinder twin-turbo engine that's making 225 kilowatt and 400 Newton meters. Those are massive numbers, even in today's standard. I mean, a new Golf 7R that you can buy for almost 6-7 times the price of this car is making that close to that type of power today. So this car was way ahead of its time when it came out, and some call it the new 2J platform because it's so tunable. In stock form, you could probably get about 400 kilowatt out of the stock block on this car. And that's because the engine is so tunable. You can just put bolt-on mods on here and just make much more big power. And this is also the same engine that is fitted to the BMW 1M. So let's check this car out today. These cars are really reasonably priced. You can pick them up from 120,000 to 200,000, depending if you go for the non-LCI or non-facelift model as they call it, which is this one, or you can go LCI and you can get there's a couple of different styling outside that you get, and it's also got a different engine. So it's not N54, it is N55. Now that I've said that, let's check this car out. Now inside, this BMW interior has aged tremendously well. I actually can't believe how good this interior still looks inside, especially the leather seats. This is a 2008 model car, so this car is about 11 years old with 140,000 kilometers on the clock, but everything inside here looks very good. The interior is aged extremely well. We obviously have a lot of leather everywhere because this is a premium car in a premium segment, and there's no skimp when it comes to the type of quality of the materials that has been used. There are some materials that have aged over time not so well. So when you look at these door handles, the plastics, you know, they've faded a little bit. And the passenger door handle, you can see the type of material that's been used on there. It's seen some very good use over the years. But other than that, very nice place to be. Driver focused. I've got these pedals behind the steering wheel, so these pedals you can use to change gears. You can change up or down. I do find them a little bit confusing though, because unlike most modern cars with pedal shifts on the steering wheel, one is up and one is down, over here you actually need to press one to change down, and I found that a little bit counterintuitive and unlike BMW, but that is what it is. Other than that, pretty much great tech inside here when it comes to modern features. You have electric seats, memory seats, there's enough airbags in here, 6 airbags, so the safety side is sorted even for a car of this age. And then on the driver side, you can control all the windows as well, electric windows, front, back, dual climate control. There is no cup holders in the door cards, so you can't really put the bottle in, but you do have these cup holders that slide out of the dashboard that you can access. There's no iDrive system in here. This is a very old infotainment system. It looks like something that came out of an E46. So there's non-iDrive here. You can view all the onboard computer information on the system, but it's pretty much old. And there's no sports mode. The only thing that you can do with this car to have fun, you can put the traction control off, or you can put the gearbox in manual mode, and then you can use the pedal shifters to change gears. But that's about it. At the back, very generous, so typical 3 Series, lots of space at the back. People will say definitely very comfortable. What's nice at the back here is your passengers, if they sit here and they want to read, they can put these lights on and off. Very big boot space. I call this dad's performance cars because I just see dads drive this car, and I understand why. If you've expanded your family a bit and you need something bigger, but you still need a high performance car, you still want comfort, you still want safety, I can't think immediately of another car that can offer you this. Of course you can go buy a GTI and you'll get some of that, but this is really a a grown-up car, and it's really for somebody who has matured with the type of cars that they've owned, because I normally see people have owned quite a few cars before they graduate to a 335i. Let's have a look outside. Non-car people will not spot that this car is different to other E90 models, because the styling cues outside are very subtle. You get the E90 335i mags that's unique to this car, that sets it apart, and then of course you get the twin tailpipes at the back, and you get the 335i badge. Other than that, the 335i doesn't differentiate itself that much compared to the other E90s that you get. Somebody who knows cars will definitely know that those two tailpipes mean business, and they are not gonna try their luck with you at a robot. But non-car people, they won't spot the difference between this and a 320i. But having said that, this car is aged extremely well. So the shape of the body, it's got a round shape, so it's left the blocky shape from that we've seen with the E36 and the E46. So in today's standard, for an 11-year-old car, this car is aged extremely well when it comes to the styling and the way that it fits in with the modern design of cars. Let's have a look at the engine. Now, the engine fitted to this car is quite unique because it's a departure for what BMW is known for, which is of course 3-liter 6-pot engines. They make brilliant normally aspirated engines, and this is the first mass-produced turbo engine that they've made since the 80s. So from a technology point of view, there was a lot of R&D that went into this car, and also what BMW wanted to achieve was they wanted to achieve that drivability that they offer with the normally aspirated engines. And what is that? Well, that's power throughout the entire rev range until the red line. So this car is fitted with 2 turbos, and I think they've achieved that. I've driven this car quite a bit today, and at the bottom there's no real noticeable turbo lag, and it's just boosting, you know, up until the red lines. I was boosting this car up until 7,000 RPMs, and the mid-range is a real nice punch that's coming through on the turbo side. So you won't, unless you are a car expert, you won't easily know that you are driving a turbocharged car. You also can't hear the turbo, so it's just linear power all the way, and that's what makes this car quite unique, and that's what makes it so great to drive, because it's got no turbo lag at the bottom, and you can rev it high up the rev range, and of course it's extremely tunable. So if you put software in this car, just stage 1 software, like something like JB4, you can push up this kilowatt to 260. Now of course there are some mechanical issues that come with this engine that is pretty much known, like the water pump, which is electric water pump that's fitted to this car. That's a known issue. And of course the high pressure fuel pump, the low pressure fuel pump. This car is also fitted with a direct injection engine configuration, so carbon buildup comes with that territory as well. So you do need to clean the carbon on these engines, because you're going to build up carbon over time, especially if you buy a high mileage E90 335i. The first thing that you should do from a preventive maintenance point of view, and just to get better drivability out of the car, is definitely to do a carbon clean. But other than that, this is a great engine setup. I hope you don't ever need to replace the turbos, because if you need to do that, you actually need to drop the subframe, move the steering rack, and just move basically the entire front suspension out of the way because of where the turbos are located. So if you do get one, make sure that the maintenance on the car is up to date. We are going to create another video that go into detail about what you need to watch out for when buying an N54 car. But that's another video. That's enough talking for today. Let's take this car out for the drive and actually see what it does on the road. Okay, so we're doing some daily driving the way you would be using this car every day when you're doing the school run or whatever daily driving you do. And this car is highly usable, very usable, extremely comfort. The dampening on the suspension is very soft and comfortable, even with this run flat tires, and run flat tires are notoriously hard, but I mean, this is very decent. I could live with this every single day. And I understand now why this car is so popular among more mature type of car guys, simply because with a car like this, you want to use it every day. You want to do the school run and run whatever errands you need to run. Take the wife to the mall over the weekend, and when you've dropped everybody off, you want to have some fun with the car, and that's what this car offers you. So let's have a look at the handling characteristics. The steering on this car is very, very heavy. If you come from a car that's fitted with an electric steering, you will immediately feel that the weight difference on the steering is crazy. It's old school hydraulic, so you get a lot of feedback, which is not a bad thing in this type of car, because you want that. When you come out of a bend, when you throw this car around, you actually do want that driver feedback, and I get that. We're going to accelerate a little bit now outside of this bend, and we're going to see how this car behaves. But from what I've tested earlier, the brakes on this car matches the performance absolutely excellent. You do have some very nice big brakes up front, and at the back you've got discs as well, and it just complements the setup that is on this car. Okay, I'm just waiting for some more space to open up for me, and I think I've got that space now. Let's listen to the tune of the N54. Woo, there we go. This car's so fast, eh? Yeah, that doesn't sound too bad. But definitely with an exhaust, the tone in this car will sound so much better. This is fun. Okay, let's have a quick look at how big the range of power is that you get with this car. Let's put my foot flat. So if you just allow the car to change, it will just go change at 7,000 RPMs. But I don't think the engine likes that. I think you should pull it till about 6,000. Just feels like it's running a little bit out of steam as you get higher up in the rev range. But at the bottom, there's massive torque. There's massive torque throughout the entire rev range. And I think this twin turbo setup is the perfect configuration to eliminate the turbo lag that you get with many turbo cars, because with this car there's no noticeable turbo lag. I mean, like you've heard now, there's no point in the rev range like it feels like the car's not making any power. And that's the beauty of this twin turbo setup, is that it just makes power from the get-go all the way up until high in the rev range. And like I said, I don't think you need to rattle this car's neck to pull it to 7,000. I think if you pull it to 6,000, 6.5 maybe, that should be fine. Another silly fact about the N54 engine is the fact that they've used a forged crank and conrods in the block. I mean, who does that? They probably envisioned that people were going to modify these type of cars, but from a mechanical point of view, the block is ready for big power. So one area where the suspension of the 335i is lacking is definitely it's but on the soft side, and I think that's because it's supposed to be a daily driver car and not a raw machine and instrument like the M3. So for me, the suspension is a bit on the soft side, especially if you're going to do some track days. You'll definitely feel some understeer with the setup, but yeah, you could always improve that if you want to modify your E90. There's a plethora of available mods that you can buy. There's so many vendors that build aftermarket parts for this car, but the suspension is definitely on the soft side. Up front we do have McPherson struts, and at the back is multi-link, so you have a complacent soft ride, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. So you can't have a very soft ride on the road and extreme hard suspension for handling as well. So what's my verdict on this BMW E90 335i? Well, what I can tell you is I'm left very impressed. I get it, I understand what all the hype is all about this car, and this car is very usable. It's got a lot of power, and if you're in the market for a performance car, I don't think for 120,000 rand that you can buy a car like for like that's gonna compete with this on performance. And I think that's the selling point and why this car has always been so popular is because of its usability every day and the performance that you can get from it. And then of course, if you want to mod this car, goodness, you can take it up to 400 kilowatt on the stock internals, and you can do so much more if you want to do a big build with your bottom end as well. Having said that, I think that you also need to keep in mind that you are buying into a premium brand and you are buying into BMW, which is notoriously expensive. We will make another video where we talk about all the mechanical issues that are present with the N55 and N54 engines, but that's a video for another day. But just be cautious when you buy BMW that repairs are not necessarily going to be cheap, and you might not always find somebody with the correct skills and tools to work on these cars. I do want to say a special thank you to Riza at Tires and More in Kimberley. He made it possible for us to review this beautiful E90 335i sedan today. If you have any tire needs in Kimberley, be sure to hit Riza up and he will sort you out. My name is Kurt from Wheel Index, the place where South Africans go to do research when they are buying or selling a car. So if you are selling a car or buying a car and you need to know the book value, if it's ever been in an accident or if it's stolen, simply go to our website, put in the details of the car, and you can generate your report.